Hi everybody, it's Nadine. I'm back for part 2. So now I'm going to show you how to make sure that you have the proper settings when you start your meeting. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you get in there. My daughter Rachel is being nice and she's helping out. So thank you, Rachel, for doing that. What's going to happen though, because we enabled the waiting room, Rachel right now is already inside of my Zoom chat. But what really happens when you guys are going into this, all of the students will be in a waiting room. And when you get ready to start your meeting, it'll say like, allow or view your waiting room. And I would view it. And then off to the side here, you're going to see a list of students. And then, for instance, if you see something that doesn't make sense, you can hit remove and so on. I cannot say this enough. Keep this inside of Canvas. Okay, we have this LTI set up. If whenever you read all of the articles about Zoom bombing and all of those kinds of things, it's because people are publicly sharing a link to their Zoom meeting. I know that we're used to seeing these different options down here. We are not using the invite at all. Do not use that option. What you should be doing is using the steps that I went over in the part 1 video when you are setting up your Zoom meetings inside of Canvas, because then everyone who's in your course will automatically get a notification about the meeting, and they will also see it. Okay. Over here, now that I have Rachel in my meeting, I'm going to hover over the top and remember we defaulted it so that way her video isn't on. So I'm going to hover over here where it says more, and it says, like, do I want to chat? That means like if Rachel wanted to ask a question, just she and I can enable that chat. Ask to start video. So in other words, I'm like, Rachel, I don't understand what you're saying, but I'm going to ask you to do a video. So then Rachel's going to accept it. You want to say hi? All right. So Rachel did that. Whenever she's done and I don't need her to do that anymore, then I'm going to hit stop video. Okay. If you aren't comfortable with that and you just want to leave it where you can see all of the names and you can hear them audio, that's totally fine. You can give them that option. I just want to go over a couple of the other items that are in here. If you need to, there's where you can remove somebody. If you need to make them a host. Now, the answer is no. You're never going to make a student a host in one of your chats. You are the only one that should be sharing your screen. So I just wanted to make sure that you saw that. Okay. Now, important to note, underneath here, it says more. Okay. Right here where it says more, these are things that you do need to make sure each time that you get ready to do a meeting that you go in and you make some changes. So yes, we want to mute participants upon entry. Now see right here, allow participants to unmute themselves. I would go ahead and uncheck that. Now, every time that you do that, it kind of kicks out. So then you got to go back in again. If you let them unmute themselves, then that can get chaotic. The more familiar that you get with Zoom, I could say that, as you get going with the flow, then you can get accustomed to that. And that's all about etiquette. But to start off with, I would definitely have that removed so that way you are in control and you're the one that has to unmute them. Allow participants to rename themselves. No way. No. We want to make sure that that is taken off. So that way we're not going to have any awful names that are popping up. I wish whenever Tyler and I are setting up that domain, I wish we could automatically have it so that they can't rename themselves, but that was not one of the options. So with this, you have to go in when you start the meeting and you have to go in and make sure that that is turned off. Okay. Put the participants in a waiting room. Yes, that's already set up. So really out of all of this, the most important would be the renaming. And obviously we do want to go ahead and lock the meeting. Okay. Now, if we lock the meeting, this is one thing that Tyler and I were talking about. So this is kind of you have to decide what you want to do with this. If you hit lock the meeting, then what that means is that if a kid has a bad connection and let's say it bumps them off of Zoom and they try to rejoin, it won't let them. So I want you to kind of think twice about, do you want it locked or do you not? Again, if you keep it under the umbrella of Canvas and you follow the guidelines that we're telling you to do, you're not going to have any kind of Zoom bombing or anything like that. So I think your preference is probably going to be, oh yes, I definitely want to lock the meeting. But I just want you to fully understand, if you do that, then that is going to make it so that if a student accidentally gets kicked off, that they can't. Okay? This is really important too. So when we get into here, we've got the different share options. And again, you're the only one that's sharing. You're not having the students like become like a co-host or something like that. When we are done with our meeting, you are going to come here to end meeting, and you need to hit end meeting for all. Okay. If it means that you want to end it and you want it to keep going, that's a no. We don't want that, because that means that students can go ahead and continue to chat and so on. So yeah, no, we're going to end the meeting for all each time. Now, when you're inside of Canvas and you launch your meeting, notice that it's launching on my Chromebook, that I've got this icon from Zoom down at the bottom. And I'm not sure if it's showing that on my desktop, but it's down here on my shelf. It just pops up. So when I go into this, I have to make sure that when I actually end the meeting, that I'm going to hit this red button that says end meeting. Otherwise, if you're like, well, I'm done and I'm going to go on to my next meeting, you may not realize that that meeting is still going. So I'm going to go over in this third video, just again, some tips and pointers. But this is what it's going to look like when you're actually running a meeting live.